Playtime! Yay! Greetings and welcome to Playtime, where we celebrate imagination, play together, and maybe even learn something we didn't know. You're probably familiar with the Viewmaster. The history of this device goes all the way back to 1939, arguably even earlier. But its popularity lasted for decades and is still around today. You buy Viewmaster reels that look very much like this. As you can see, it holds 14 actual film transparencies. You slip the reel in the top and look into the viewer, hold the Viewmaster up near some light so you can see, and the film cell image will appear in gorgeous 3D. Right in this spot here, you can read a little description that accompanies the image you're looking at. Pull the lever here, and the reel will turn to the next image. Yeah, I know, pretty unimpressive by today's standards, yeah? I mean, come on, buddy. I own Thor Ragnarok in 3D, and I can watch it in the dark. Yet the Viewmaster isn't going anywhere. They continue to adapt to the times with things like VR headsets, and as of right now, there's a Viewmaster movie in the works. A movie! One of the ways the Viewmaster adapted in the 1970s was by releasing what's called a talking Viewmaster. This went through several designs over the years, but I have this early model here. This machine still has the circular reels, but on the back there's a little audio record. The reel goes into the talking Viewmaster and everything works the same, except to hear the record play, you press and hold this giant soundbar button on the back.
Some people have dogs who chase cars. Some people have dogs who bite mailmen.
Yeah, so that sounds like a nightmare. I'd play more, but I'm afraid I'll accidentally summon Lucifer. Anyway, let's get to today's topic, an original Godzilla story spread across 3 reels called Godzilla's Rampage. It came out as both standard reels and as talking reels. The story dropped in 1978, the same time Marvel was doing their run of Godzilla King of the Monsters. In fact, yeah. A lot, if not all of this Godzilla art was jacked right from the Marvel comics, with minor environmental changes. I mean, this is pretty blatant. I guess it bothers me because nowhere on the packaging or inserts is credit provided to the original artist, Herb Trimpe. What about the story itself? Well, there are 3 ways you can experience it. Either with the reels and just reading the story blurbs, by using the soundbar, or by reading the story booklet packed in with the reels. Well, the blurbs are very short, and I don't think you want me to actually play you these reels.
Next morning, an exciting discovery.
Look at that! Golly, Penny, a gigantic footprint.
So today I'll read the booklet. For images, I'm going to use this old projector to shine the reel onto my screen here, and then take photos of the images. I have to be fast, because the bulb in this old projector literally smells like it's going to burn my entire house like a wax candle. We're going to lose the 3D effect, but at least we'll preserve the story. So let's dive into Godzilla's Rampage. Most days, the Pacific Ocean lies as peaceful as its name. Ships pass serenely from the west coast of the United States to the Pacific's major island chains, Hawaii, Japan. Who could have predicted it? One minute, passengers aboard a U.S. cruise vessel were gazing at the horizon and discussing Honolulu's vacation fun. The next minute, they were scrambling for their lives. Strange, blood-curdling roars punctured the Pacific's calm. The ship, flaming suddenly like a torch, was going down. Only a few lucky souls managed to grab onto life rafts. "What the? Did you see it?" cried one survivor as he pulled himself aboard a raft. "Yeah, but I don't believe it," yelled another. Quiet again, the ocean current swept the pontoons north toward a small island. Natives spotted the rafts and rushed to pull them ashore. Exhausted and mumbling something about a monster spitting fire, the tattered crew collapsed on the sand. "Here, take this. It should ward off any infection." Dr. Wesley Morris quickly checked pulses and gave orders as the survivors sprawled on the beach. "Hey, what's a doc doing out here in the middle of nowhere?" asked one of the men. "Let's say I'm doing research," said Morris. "And you can help by telling me just what happened."
"Yes, what about this monster?"
chimed in Penny Morris. She and her brother Nat had accompanied their dad to the beach.
"He came out of the water, green and scaly like a lizard,"
said a woman.
"but huge, say 400 feet tall."
Others confirmed her story. Dr. Morris and the kids headed for their compound. Halfway across the island, a tropical storm burst over them. Struggling against typhoon-like winds, the 3 took refuge in a cave. Next morning, they started out again. But what was this? An enormous three-toed footprint. Looking up, Dr. Morris and the kids saw a huge, scaly, green head staring at them over the ridge. Smoke poured from its mouth. "No doubt now," exclaimed Morris. "It's Godzilla." Abruptly, the monster turned and stomped out to sea. Dr. Morris grabbed his binoculars. The scientists had been tracking Godzilla since the day a nuclear blast woke the prehistoric creature from eons of suspended animation beneath the ocean's floor. Next day, a rescue plane arrived to take the survivors back to Hawaii. Radios were buzzing the news.
"A sea monster has been seen off the west coast."
Sure enough, at dusk that day, Godzilla rose out of the sea in Puget Sound, Washington. Back at the Morris compound, Penny and Nat watched as the doc put final touches on his invention, the oxygen bomb. This, Morris told them, is the only weapon that can stop Godzilla. But would it be too late to save Seattle? Lumbering out of Elliott Bay, Godzilla capsized 2 ships en route to the city center. A railroad bridge got in the way, so the mammoth beast crushed it with his tail. Bellowing, he grabbed the boxcar and threw it into the bay. Workers near the dock fled in terror. Who could stop this invading juggernaut now? Seeing Seattle's famous Space Needle, Godzilla lunged for it like a child grasping a new toy. The National Guard beamed searchlights at the huge reptile, seeking a target for their heavy weapons. Next morning at Seattle-Tacoma Airport, Dr. Morris, Penny, and Nat arrived. Seattle's only hope, the oxygen bomb, was locked inside the scientists' attache case. The National Guard continued to mobilize against the monster. Planes and tanks aimed heavy artillery at him. Godzilla, unhurt, fought back. A flaming ray shot from his mouth and turned a tank to cinders, perhaps a result of the nuclear blast which long awakened him. Godzilla's dragging-like breath now carried the devastating fire of radiation.
"Cut the cute stuff and blast that hot-headed lizard!"
radioed the guard commander. Tanks and jeeps fired in formation, but Godzilla spat back.
"Keep going! Keep going!"
the commander shouted.
"He's out in Elliott Bay! Just try to scare him off! Whatever you do, don't!"
Berserk with pain, Godzilla grew more enraged with every blow. Bombs and bullets struck his scaly flesh and bounced off into the water. While the battle went on, Dr. Morris and the kids made their way to a secluded cove near the bay. Donning wetsuits, the 3 prepared to carry out their world-saving mission. "Remember, you 2, the important thing is to get the cable tied around his leg securely," said the doctor. "Otherwise, he might fling it loose when he starts to struggle. I'll take care of the rest."
But what if the monster moves before we get it tied?
"That's a chance we have to take, Nat," exclaimed Dr. Morris. "The risks are high, but so are the stakes. You know, kids, I never wanted to use the oxygen bomb under any circumstances. Its potential for destruction is as great as the nuclear device that started this whole mess. But now we have no choice. Godzilla must be stopped. With any luck, no one will ever know how we did it,"
Okay, Dad.
said Penny.
Let's go.
The 3 plunged into Elliott Bay and moved silently downward. There, in the gloom, Godzilla's feet rested sturdily on the bottom. Grasping the moth right leg, Penny pulled the cable to the other side, and the 2 swam toward each other, joining the cable where they met. Dr. Morris made the final attachments. Then, motioning the others to follow him to the surface, he activated the weapon. Suddenly, Godzilla's giant tail rose into the air and beat back against the water. The creature jerked and twisted violently, as if grasping for air. The oxygen bomb was working.
"Attention all units,"
called the guard's commander.
"It looks like our monster's finally hurting. He's floundering around out there and in the bay."
"Just hold your positions and keep your fingers crossed." Apparently beaten, the giant beast roared and bellowed until the earth itself shook. Safe on shore, Dr. Morris, Penny, and Nat watched as Godzilla flipped over and blundered out to sea. A primitive life form displaced in time, he still retained his own curious dignity.
"He's going away!"
Squawked the guard commander's bullhorn.
"Good work, men. We finally did it."
What does he mean, we?
Muttered Nat. Penny bit her lip.
Gosh, Dad, seeing Godzilla struggle to breathe like that, after what we did, well, it makes me feel kind of sad.
"I know," the doctor nodded. "But I'm sure you realize that thousands of lives were at stake. He could have destroyed Seattle, maybe even the world." He added thoughtfully, "Millions of years old, too tough to die. I have a feeling somehow that the world hasn't seen the last of Godzilla." And this little booklet also has some games here, like Match the Monster's Name and Face. Or how about this game? What country's symbol appears on Godzilla's back? And that's the story of Godzilla's Rampage, a completely original Godzilla story presented just for the Viewmaster and Talking Viewmaster. Although, completely original, really? Besides Marvel's art, we got an oxygen bomb? And why is this guy taking his kids scuba diving to Godzilla's leg? If the miniseries on HBO Chernobyl has taught me anything, both that scientist and his kids now have cancer. Thanks, Green American Godzilla.